In today's day and age, what does a CIO's dashboard look like? What do you wake up to in the morning and check? What are your metrics that bother you or keep you up at night?
So nobody likes my answer when I say this. Nothing keeps me up at night anymore, not even cybersecurity. It's not because I don't worry about it. It's because...
Do you think quantum is going to hit the academia, or do you think decentralized technologies like blockchain are going to change things the way they are? What is your take?
I think each one of these is in a category on its own.
What do degrees of the future look like with AI as part of the teaching experience?
Just like AI is evolving, the use of AI tools in academia will also evolve.
What kind of technology should CIOs of today, they should be totally adopting?
I think right now the best thing anybody can do is learn the world of AI. It is a massive world. I know most people think AI is ChatGPT or Claude or something else, but it's not even the tip of the iceberg. The iceberg is coming.
Tell me, what's your purpose in life? What drives Opinder? Opinder, welcome to Ctrl Alt podcast.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Wonderful. So I've never met anyone quite like you, so I'm extremely intrigued, and that's why I'm having you on my podcast. On one end, you are the VP and Chief Innovation Officer at University of San Francisco. Such a beautiful campus. I'm totally floored, and I loved interacting with your team. So, and then on the other end, you are a VC. You work with Mayfield, you work with Salesforce, you're advising several tech startups. So who is Opinder Bawa? I mean, are you changing the future of education, or are you changing the future of tech? Who is Opinder Bawa?
Wow, such a beautiful question. You know, when I think about myself, I think about it in 2-3 different ways. One is there's a personal life, right? The personal life is your parents, your brothers, sisters, your kids, and they shape who you are, you know, especially from early childhood. The other experiences that shape you are things, for example, my parents were from India, but my father was a diplomat. So I actually grew up all over the world. We moved from country to country every 3 years.
Wow.
So that was my upbringing. So that shapes you.
Tell me more about the countries you visited.
I was born in Egypt. That's where my parents were when they had me.
Wow.
Then we've moved to like Turkey, Kuwait, sprints in Japan, England, the United States, of course, was one of the last countries where we actually ended up, which is where I finished my high school and finished my undergrad in New York.
So you're literally well-rounded, like you've traveled the world.
I was global before I knew what the world meant.
Yeah.
And then I read Tom Friedman's book, The World is Flat, and I could see myself in it. And I appreciated it so much back then because I could acclimate to different industries, different problems, different issues, because I could see myself in them much more easily than most people. And for that, I felt I was very blessed in that upbringing, in that personal life. And of course, then the professional upbringing is very different, right?
Yeah.
You end up with a job, then you go from one to another, then you sort of experiment, and you figure out what you like, what you don't like. And half the time you don't know what you're doing. So half the time you end up in accidental jobs.
Yeah.
And then just life emerges out of that. So I think I've been very blessed on both sides, personal and professional.
So you're a person who's very open to serendipity. Can we put it that way?
Yeah, that's a good point. I like that word, serendipity.
Yeah, because when you're grateful, then life aligns you to the right cause and the right purpose. So tell me, what's your purpose in life? What drives Opinder?
I think at this point, because various parts of your life have different motivations, right? When you're young, you've got kids, you're pursuing Silicon Valley, you're pursuing startups and corporations and venture firms because you love that environment. Then as over time you mature and you think about bigger problems and what do you really want to accomplish, what you're really thinking of. And I think it's to do with how you emerge as a professional.
Yeah.
And the people around you.
Yeah.
So at this point, I'd say, you know, my passion is really around helping universities, particularly the University of San Francisco, really think about how they can change the organization, both administratively as academically.
Yeah.
How can we improve the curriculum
Yeah.
to include, of course, new technologies like AI and older technologies that we've just experienced. But how do we change curriculum to make sure we're incorporating the best technologies in our entire environment.
Yeah.
And the administrative side, it's about adopting the best practices, the best technologies, the best programs, the best policies, security, cybersecurity, anything you can think of. Having a network that runs flawlessly is just as important as cybersecurity.
Yeah.
It's just as important as having software packages that actually do very effective things for a university, just as much they're effective in a corporation.
Wonderful. So, Upinder, your talent is very, very unique because correct me if I'm wrong, in 2018 you got a standing ovation from the board of trustees for accomplishing something they had never seen before, and you were managing the IT at the time. IT is the most underappreciated, most taken for granted department in any company. Why did they give you a standing ovation? I'm just trying to find that person who understands deployment of technology at scale, and is thinking like an innovator when he adopts new technology. Tell us about that. And then I also want to know, you brought down phishing using the Splunk software. You adopted it in the university, and from days to minutes, you were able to mitigate the time of attack tracing and cybersecurity issues in the university. Tell me about these two incidents, which kind of showcases your innovativeness inside a university.
Very interesting questions. To begin with, I think the board was very, very gracious, very kind. They gave not me, just me as an innovation. It was really my team. So I had actually brought my team in to do a comprehensive update on what IT had accomplished over the last 4 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So the accolades were, of course, I take it very humbly, but it's my team.
Mm-hmm.
The team we have is absolutely amazing because they're the ones who accomplish the work. And any CIO will tell you it's really about the people that work for them. They actually get the job done through very, very difficult times. Mm-hmm. They're the ones who really deserve the accolades, and I'm very grateful for that, frankly. I really am. The work that led up to that was a couple of things. One was, I think we had done a very comprehensive job of educating and bringing in CRM, customer relationship management type thinking, philosophy, and technology by deploying Salesforce. So helping our enrollment team, our student success team, anybody that was looking at student data, how do you do that as effectively as you can? So we had a CRM campaign that deployed really cool technologies like Salesforce I mentioned to actually help the university become much more operationally efficient using those technologies. There was another program at the same time we launched around purchasing. Purchasing is very decentralized.
Yeah.
And these were all learnings from corporations, right? And startups in Silicon Valley. This was second nature to most of myself and my team, that these are more effective things to do to improve the university operations. So we deployed it took us about 18 months to deploy a purchasing system. And these systems are not just about technologies, it's about the users.
Yeah.
How are they going to use it? Yeah. The effectiveness, the training, the change management, the project management, that's what's required in these. And my team did an amazing job for those deployments. So the third one was cybersecurity. So just revamping the entire infrastructure we had around cybersecurity and the various components of cybersecurity and how we thought about it. Cybersecurity even 10 years ago wasn't just a system you plugged in.
Yeah.
It was a series of comprehensive changes that you made up and down the entire technology stack.
Yeah.
Including the most vulnerable piece of it, which was end users.
Yeah.
Most hacks happen because an end user got compromised. Phishing was most common, still is most common. So because of these three initiatives and the comprehensive nature of them, and the efficiency in scheduling them and monitoring them and implementing them, that was what the Ovation was for, because it was each one of these projects was multi-years. Each one of them involved university-wide initiatives. These were not just departmental initiatives. And they were on time, on budget. Wow. And that's what the board had never seen before, is the orchestration of three massive projects over a 6-year period, on time, on budget.
Yeah. So this is incredible. So Opinder, you've lived through several platform shifts in technology, and you have this amazing insight that you can see the past. You kind of know when the next wave is going to hit. I do want to ask you what you think about the next technology waves that are going to hit not just the tech companies, but the end user, the consumer, the academia. And in today's day and age, what does a CIO's dashboard look like? Like you're the almost the acting CIO and Chief Innovation Officer. What does your dashboard look like? Like, what do you wake up to in the morning and check? What are your metrics? That bother you or keep you up at night? Yeah.
So nobody likes my answer when I say this. Nothing keeps me up at night anymore. Not even cybersecurity. It's not because I don't worry about it. It's because the systems we've implemented
At University
at
of
the
San
University of San
Francisco.
Francisco, they're some of the best systems out there. We have vendors that really protect us very well. On top of that, we have an incredible team that manages our cybersecurity environment. So that's an example of giving you about cybersecurity. A lot of CIOs would tell you that, that's what keeps them up at night.
Yeah.
What I focus on my time on is future innovation. Like, what is coming? What is going to happen? How is it going to happen? How can we prepare ourselves for that change? And how do we help the masses, whether it's employees, whether it's faculty, whether it's students, how do we help them gain that momentum and lean into those changes in a more proactive fashion?
Yeah. So Opinder, what are the trends you're seeing? What do you think? Because looks like you're living in the future. You're in a very strategic role. So you've embraced the future and you're bringing people along with you. So what are those technologies? Do you think quantum is going to hit the academia, or do you think decentralized technologies like blockchain, are going to change things the way they are? What is your take?
So I think each one of these it's in a category on its own, right? The largest one that is emerging now that is going to have more of a end user impact, whether it's students, whether it's faculty, whether it's corporations, whether it's consumers, it's of course AI. But you have to unpack what is AI.
What is AI?
Right?
Yeah.
AI is probably, I think, invented in the 50s, 1950s. So AI is not new.
It's not.
AI is very old. The recognition of what AI is today came from, of course, our popular ChatGPT. And in one of the presentations I made to the board recently is about what does this emergence look like?
Yeah.
And is it real or is it a fad?
Yeah.
And of course, my conclusion after 2-3 years of observation has been that this is not a fad. It's real. It's going to happen. It's large. It's huge. This is more of a seismic shift. And I liken it to what happened with the internet. So one of my slides talks about the fact that ChatGPT was like Netscape, the original browser.
Yeah.
When browser came on the scene, people just thought, wow, this is the internet? It really wasn't. It was just a look into a server.
Yeah.
So ChatGPT is kind of that Netscape moment for AI.
And you believe that, like it's...
Absolutely. Yeah. I think I'm a firm believer that this is a seismic shift. Now, I will say and I tell all my colleagues, including the VCs, this is on a super hype scales than ever before. Just like the internet was.
Yeah.
The scale might be different, the tempo might be different, various things might be different, but this is a normal adoption investment pattern where you invest a lot, and then there are a couple of winners. And I'm not the only one saying it. I mean, you talk to any JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, anybody that you like, they all have a similar philosophy that you've got to get through this hype cycle, and then hope you're one of the winners at the end. That's what this is all about.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, but you need this investment. You need these corporations to invest the billions in this hype cycle to benefit on the other side.
No, I like that. Because it's disruptive innovation and it sucks a lot of capital to make mistakes, right?
Absolutely. And God bless them. And I'm so appreciative of them. I really am, that they're investing the money, because we as a human race will benefit for it over time if we adopt it and utilize it the right way.
Yeah.
Corporations, universities, we all will benefit from the actual emergence of it. But you have to use it, responsibility, ethically. It can't be just about profit. You've got to think about the deployment of AI
Yeah.
or the components of AI. And again, there's so many components to AI and what that looks like going forward. So just like I think, like we were talking about earlier, Netscape was, in the 1980s. Fast forward to today, we don't think about the browser, we don't think about the search engine, we don't think about the website, we don't think about e-commerce. But each one of those was a huge cycle in itself
Yeah.
over the last 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
So this year, the cycle is, the models like Claude or ChatGPT or Gemini. Everybody wants to know which one's better or which one I should use or how do I use this and so on. That's great. Just learn how to use them. But in 2 years, it's not going to matter which one you're using
Yeah.
because the world would have moved on to something else, probably agentic AI. That
Yeah.
agentic AI is going to take over interactions. So it doesn't matter what model you're using because the interactions are happening in that agent layer.
Yeah.
So I think you'll see this evolve over the next 10, 20 years. It's not going to be a short cycle. It's going to be this long. It won't be 40 years. I do think it will be shorter, but you will see a lot of functionality evolve and change. And I think that's where universities like University of San Francisco, we have to help our students to learn this evolution of technology that are coming.
Yeah.
It's a skill set. How to change, how to learn, how to modify, how to adapt to these changes that are coming down the pipe. I think that's what a lot of our focus, because we're a liberal arts college, it's perfect because we're teaching them life skills. It doesn't matter what the technology is, right? The next 10 years is going to be AI, 20 years AI. But in their lifetime, by the time they're retiring, this is going to be another cycle of technologies.
Exactly.
So their ability to transform themselves is going to be the best thing we can do for them. Besides that, it's ethics. How to be a good person. It's nothing to do with technology, nothing to do with the job you have or what you do in life and how you do it. So an education like what you get at University of San Francisco, it's intense
So
for this period.
Can you explain a little bit more? Because I wonder, which tools will be allowed in the academia, and if these tools are allowed, how do you test the aptitude of the student, and what do degrees of the future look like with AI as part of the teaching experience?
Yeah, that's a very deep question. So just like AI is evolving, the use of AI tools in academia will also evolve.
Yep.
And I'll give you an example. So last year and this year, maybe the faculty wanted to focus on, I would like to give Claude or Gemini a tool to my students so they can use that for some of their homework or classwork just to acclimate themselves, right? That's one use. But over the last year, what I found is we're quickly emerging to domain-specific AI tools or systems. And a great example is our Dean of Law. She and I collaborated on a set of projects that completely changed the curriculum inside of the law school.
Yeah.
And it's not about just one LLM or like Claude. We've actually adopted several applications, AI-based systems, AI-based applications internally into those curriculums as well. So already you're seeing an adoption of a much larger, widespread AI-based systems into these domain specifics. But what you introduce to law is going to be very different than what you introduce to computer science, very different than what you introduce to management, school of management,
or medical school,
or medical school or nursing school. So whatever the components of AI that each of these schools or students will learn is it will be different. It's not going to be just Claude or just Gemini. There's going to be so many others.
So the near-term wave is of contextual AI. What is the context your LLM is operating in, and how well can you help your LLM adapt to the context and enable the agentic?
That is definitely a part of it, but it's a part of it because then one of the law school adopted a system called Accordance. Accordance actually is an AI-built system. So there's no learning about how to interact with Accordance. It's you tell it what to do and it does it automatically.
Wow, this is amazing.
Which is completely different than what the law schools learned 2 years ago. Completely different. the research you can do in accordance, it cuts down the research time into hours rather than weeks.
Now, this is happening in publications also. You can talk to publications, and novel research ideas are being synthesized using AI.
Yeah.
I mean, human in the loop, of course, but
of course. So there's such a spectrum of use of AI. That's why this is so profound of a change. It's a seismic shift.
yeah,
And we don't know what it looks like yet.
yeah,
So the best thing we can do is take it at one point in time, like this year, what am I seeing? What
Yeah.
am I learning?
yeah,
Don't think about next year, the year after, the next year. That's a nice to have, but don't get fixated on long term, what's happening or what's going to happen, because it changes so quickly. So that's why a lot of my time I spend is around what are we going to do with AI on the administrative side? How do I work with my colleagues? My colleagues are also fantastic. They'll learn things, and we talk about what they can do and how they can do it. And the same thing on the academic side. The colleagues I have there, they're absolutely amazing. They're always thinking 5 steps ahead. So sometimes we've got to bring them back. Okay, let's talk about what you want to do next semester in your course.
No, this is incredible. I have this a flash, that the curriculum duration will shorten, but you cannot say that because there is so much new learning going into every profession. It can be, I had an interaction with a startup founder who built an AI system for IP. He didn't want to pay the lawyer, so he used it himself. He didn't want to spend $10,000 every single time he met a lawyer for a new patent. He had like 200 plus patents. So, so the whole patenting process is shrunk because of it. And this is one of the things lawyers do. IP and patenting, it's like whole and soul. There are people who dedicate their lives to that. But what happens to those kind of professions?
So first of all, isn't it very interesting that one of the most
boring,
I would say disciplined jobs were the first to adopt it because of exactly what you said. They saw it cut down their research and their work by weeks, by hours.
Yes.
The other thing that happened is clients start demanding it.
Yeah. And if you don't have it, then you're like not in the know. Yeah.
So I think a more difficult occupation that's going to be more difficult to transform is consulting. Deloitte, Anderson, PwC, I think they're going to have a much more difficult time honing their skills down to this. Because imagine if you're a business analyst, you sit down and you converse for all day, you're talking to users. And now you go back and you have to type everything up and synthesize it. That used to take weeks, a business analyst, weeks to do. Now if you use transcription, it can take the same analyst maybe a day, maybe 2 days to produce the same script that would have taken them weeks to do. So it's transforming businesses in a way that I don't think we all completely understand yet, which is why there's a lot of concern, of course, which is very, very thoughtful, very doable.
Yeah. You know what I feel? There should be a role of a futurist for every vertical. Because their job is to sit and think about these things. I think consultants should put on the hat of a futurist, because a CEO does not have time to think about more than the next 5 years, and with his budgeting and with if the company is IPO, then he has to talk to the Wall Street, and where does he have the time to sit and imagine these things, right?
So which is part of the turmoil you have right now is just, there's a lot of money flowing here, right? Non-VC, it's all corporates, and there's a lot of money flowing between corporations and these organizations. So all of a sudden now that's being disrupted. Right? A lawyer could have something that could have charged a month for now can only charge a week for, right? So that's an example of, now you can argue he can do 4 times as much work. That's different. But I think the investment flow, the money flow is the second thing that's going to show up in the next couple of years. Is there's a disruption in that flow of money back and forth, because customers will demand a lower price point. Right? But yet the people providing the service will argue, well, no, I'm just providing a better, more intelligent service. So there's going to be a give and take here that it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. So, and
whoever understands that will make money.
Ideally.
In this market.
And there'll be winners and losers every year. I mean, some people do go 1 year but they'll do it wrong next year and so on. So I think that's why this is an evolution of, multiple years, not a decade or 2 decades, because a lot of the early investments will not pan out. Most of them will not. A lot of the early adoption will not pan out. You've heard these metrics from MIT that 95% of the pilots failed.
Yeah.
Well, why they fail? It's not just because of AI. It's because of many other factors that impact a deployment, that impact a pilot. Is the organization ready? Is the data ready?
Yeah.
Data is one of the biggest culprits.
Yeah.
Most corporations, most organizations don't have clean data. They've never had clean data.
Even in this day and age, they don't have.
This is why data warehousing projects have not succeeded for 30, 40 years. There's always an evolution of a data warehouse. It's never done because there's always things to clean up again and again and again. So I think AI makes that that's a thorn in AI's side.
But even though AI is heading towards unstructured data, you still think that's going to take time?
It's going to take time because data can be dirty data, and corporations can have dirty data. And there's a lot of different definitions of what that means. There could be duplication of data.
Yeah.
And of course, then there's a spectrum of politics and ownership. And I have this data, you can't have it. I have this. So corporations have a lot of other challenges besides technical challenges. So you have to work those through. It's not impossible, but it will take time for AI and change management related to AI to work through these things in a methodical fashion, which is, again, this is why it takes a lot of them fail. And then they blame the technology, but it wasn't the technology really. It was the adoption, the use of that, and the mechanisms around it.
Wonderful. So, along these lines, what are some of the professions you think should be created, or curriculums which do not exist but should be created? You're sitting here at the heart of the startup, the corporate, the venture, and the education system. From this point of view, what professions need to be created and what kind of curriculums need to be created that do not exist? An example is, I feel that screens should go away and we should be more voice oriented in our interaction. Things should be more immersive, like, you know what I mean? It should get out of the screen. That's my take. So what do you think should happen in terms of the curriculum or the...
So a couple of things there. I think one is the form factor in what we as human beings would like.
Yeah.
We're more comfortable with screens. I don't know if you remember.
At this time.
Well, I'll give you an example. About 70 years ago, I came across a company that actually, for the size of the microphone, you actually have it here, and it was like Alexa.
Yeah.
Everything was voice. Anything you wanted, you interacted through voice. Experimental. But it made me realize that humans they have a preference for look, feel, touch, right? So
all three. Yeah.
over time, we'll see if that pans out.
Okay.
We'll see if that becomes more comfortable, or do we want that as an option? So today you have an option to ask Siri or Alexa or anything else to do something on your phone.
Yeah.
But still, we don't do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing that happened with VR headsets.
Yes.
Why are VR headsets not popular?
So bulky and they obstruct the view.
And even if you make them into a tiny glass, the reason they won't take off, because 60% of the world population already wears glasses.
Yeah.
They don't like glasses.
Right.
They don't like glasses.
Yeah.
I haven't met a single person in my life who said, I love my glasses. I would wear my glasses even if I didn't need them. None. So here you have technology companies inventing products that they're saying, this is cool, take it, it's going to change the way your life works and so on. Hasn't happened, won't happen. It's a figment of their imagination.
So that being said, so what do you think should be some of the new professions and curriculums which enable these technology trends which are coming?
So thank you for taking me back to that question. Regarding the curriculum, professions. So I think the first thing to think about is every profession that exists today most likely will exist, just in a different form.
As in, let's look at a teacher's role. Since we are in University of San Francisco, you think we will have robot teachers? So
Unlikely.
Teacher, agent, no, we still need human interaction.
You will need human interaction. It's also the value proposition. So you have universities where you can get a bachelor's degree for like $6,000-7,000 because everything's online. Is that the experience you want? Is that experience you think is going to make you what you want to be as a human being?
Yeah.
It's up to universities like ours to explain the value of an incredible education.
Yeah.
It's not about the job you're going to get.
Yeah.
It's about who are you going to be as a human being. And it takes a while to help parents and kids understand it's not about the job. That's really, really important.
Yeah.
But education, especially undergrad education, is about shaping who you are going to be as a human being. And I think people, parents and students, get that wrong a lot. And they focus too much about the job and so on. So I think when it comes to choosing professions, I think that'll go through a different morph. So faculty members, same thing. They're learning AI today, the components of AI.
Yeah.
They're learning all those components to understand how do I adopt this piece in my curriculum. And this is the first, second year of this, right? So you see a spectrum of some it's not appropriate for some classes, and it's extremely appropriate for some classes.
Yeah.
So there's an entire spectrum. I think over time you're going to see normalization where even most curriculums have some component of technology, some component of AI.
Yeah.
Even if it's art, there's so many artists now that are creating art using AI. They're artists.
Yeah.
Right? They're using AI and the AI tools to create art, right? All the way through a medical doctor who's using an EMR system today, or a nurse EMR system that graduated from college, but they learned how to use an EMR system during their practices and their curriculums. Now whatever AI tools come to play, they will learn those AI tools to take them into the world because that's what's going into their corporate life cycle as well, or their professions.
Yeah, I wonder about filmmaking a lot, but there is a strong human sense of purpose in filmmaking. It's a profession which is getting disrupted massively.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I was at a conference recently, and one of the focus groups was around media and communications, and it was incredible. I was there with people from the film industry and the streaming industry, and they were talking about how it could disrupt them in different ways.
Yeah.
I met a company in Los Angeles that is licensing a Marvel movie, and the reason they're doing that is because they want to create about a half a dozen different endings of that movie.
Oh my God.
And then they want to create 4 or 5 storylines in that.
Yeah.
So an end user, a consumer, can determine how the movie progresses.
Yeah, I don't like tragedies. I don't like tragedies.
So that's a great example of, they're experimenting with it. But the concept was very interesting, very amazing.
Yeah. And maybe movies will be interactive one day. Maybe you can tell the character what to do and change the plot. And the movie will recreate itself.
It could, and so that AI opens up a different world. It's scary, and I completely get that. I'm always concerned about the casualties of this. So we always have to think about, okay, what do we do with the population? How do we help them come along? How do we help the end user understand and adopt and modify and change? If something can be automated, then what can we do with the people that are doing the work today manually? What can we help them with? How do we help them move on to something else that is more meaningful for them, hopefully, but also make sure we care for them. I think that's the biggest danger that I hear and I see and then I feel about AI and its trends is that part.
So Upinder, in the past you have said you see yourself as an educator and an executive. With that kind of mindset, you're advising tech companies at Mayfield or your Salesforce or a bunch of other companies. When you enter this arena of technology and you're also a CIO, what are the top 3 challenges you see the chief information officers are facing today in this day and age of AI overload? Everywhere there's a hype cycle. So what do you think they could do which they do not have right now?
A couple of things I can think of. One is, it depends so much, and I speak to my colleagues, CIO colleagues all the time, and we talk about these things, about where they are in their journey versus, my journey versus, I speak a lot to CIO colleagues in universities that we're, University of San Francisco is a part of the AGCU system, the Jesuit network. There was 27 universities, so their CIOs I speak to often. And I speak to a lot of the CIOs in Silicon Valley and across the United States, just colleagues that I've known over time. And we talk about, what are the challenges that each one of us faces. There's a path here. The path is so much dependent on an individual's role in a company. Some CIOs are operational in nature because they've been hired as operational people because they needed something fixed in the organization and so on. Some CIOs, of course, are more on the spectrum of business transformation, where they've been brought in to actually change business and modify business using technology, of course.
But that is the CTO's role, isn't it?
Combined. So this is where a lot of these roles overlap.
Okay.
So in a very large corporation, in multi-billion-dollar corporations, there'll be a CIO, and the CTO reports to the CIO.
Oh my God, I thought it was the other way around.
In some companies, you're going to see that.
Okay.
You're going to see Chief Digital Innovation Officer. You're going to see CDO. So all of these do the same thing, whether it's one person or multiple people.
Right.
They do the same thing.
Yeah.
And I think I'm very, very fortunate that, I play so many roles at USF because of this, because we do so many things. And our size, allows us to have that well structured the way it is.
So coming back to the pain points.
So the pain points come down to, a lot of them don't know how to explain this to their boards or their presidents or their managers.
How do you explain it? What do you suggest? Yeah.
So very often I share with them some of the decks that I've built around how to explain things. And most of my decks are not technical in nature.
They're not.
They're storyline. They're story about what happened, why it happened, what is this doing. And technology plays a very key but a smaller underlying supportive role for whatever that story is.
So you're a visionary. I can tell. You paint a vision.
It's more of a honed skill, I would say, about being able to see what's coming. So I started looking at AI 3 years ago. About 2 years ago, I realized this is real. I started bringing outside experts to meet with me and my team of half a dozen people to give us advice on what they're seeing. What is this thing AI? What is this thing? What exactly is shaping up to be? So those 6 months, a year, including some of my VC friends, they actually came here and spoke with my team about what they were seeing and what kind of systems and startups they were funding and why. That gave them a lot of insight about what is going on in AI. Then we started experimenting at the university about a year ago.
Can I ask you one question? Google and Cisco came out of Stanford. The students built the technology and Silicon Valley tech companies adopted that. So but in your case, as a CIO, you're asking tech companies advice and then you're adopting it once they say it's safe or it's going to scale or it's real. What if your own students are creating technology that is going to disrupt how do you manage that arc? I mean, the circle.
Oh, I would love it if they did that. I would love it. I think the reality is, there's a difference between an R1 institution, like Stanford, for example, or Berkeley, or where you have researchers building core innovation. And you have universities like ours, which are much more liberal arts oriented. And we think about more applied AI, not inventing AI, but how do we apply AI thoughtfully, methodically, meaningfully, ethically. That's what I think our students will focus on mainly.
Which I think
is
will become
applied AI.
Yeah, it will become more important, I feel.
It will become more important.
Yes, it will become more important. The way the AI is automating stuff, it's making things agentic, people will have a lot of hands on their time to think, and ethics and
That's correct.
Personality and the values will take over. That's what leadership is going to be about.
And I'll give you a great example of that. It was last year, I think I read, Goldman Sachs hired more philosophy majors than entire history. Just last 1 year. Because they realized that what they wanted and needed were liberal arts
Yeah.
students
Yeah.
and not high-tech students.
Yep.
And that was the first year they did that. So you're going to see more of this, that these are more, this is going to become more important and more meaningful
Yeah.
as this scales.
And you need people to communicate the human side to the tech guys who are building it. So this is a great shift. I'm glad that you're articulating. A lot of people will listen to this. On that note, the kind of person that you are, the values you stand for, who were the mentors who shaped your life, your thinking, your personality?
Oh, wow. What a history. I don't think it was any one person. I think there was a series of experiences. Some people come to mind, like I met Eric Benamou, who was the CEO of 3Com at that time. He was buying Pilot, the Palm Pilot company, and I happened to meet him during those conversations.
He started BGV.
That's right, he did BGV Ventures.
Yeah.
He comes to mind. Alan Kessler, who used to work for him. Alan was amazing because he's been so thoughtful, meaningful, gives you as much time as you need to think through things and help. There's so many people that come to mind. It's not just one, but there's so many. But I mentioned those two because they were early in my career in Silicon Valley, and they had a really deep impression on how to navigate change, how to think about change when you're going through such a massive shift in technologies and innovation.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was Tom Thomas, the first CIO I worked for. He was the one that
CIO of
3Com.
3Com again. Okay.
He was he helped me understand that CIOs need to be example setters.
Chief Information Officer.
Chief Information Officer.
Yeah.
And how to eat your own dog food. So if you're selling a product in your company, you better be using that product inside. And if it's not good enough for you, then you shouldn't be selling it.
Yeah.
So I think I learned a lot from those three people.
Wonderful.
And that was because that was my first job, and that was my first endeavor into Silicon Valley.
Amazing. And based on your experience across multiple platform shifts, what kind of technology should CIOs of today they should be totally adopting across academia and the technology companies, the small or large? What do you see that technology that is a must-have?
I think I would change my answer to say, I don't think there's this one technology yet that is going to change and improve the lives of the workers or the users. I think right now the best thing anybody can do is learn the world of AI. It is a massive world. I know most people think AI is ChatGPT or Claude or something else, and that's very, very that's very understandable because that's what they've been exposed to.
Yeah.
But it's not even the tip of the iceberg. The iceberg is coming, and the iceberg is emerging. It's not just coming, it's emerging. So just understanding the landscape of AI is so deep, so vast. Which pieces of those pertain to them?
Yeah.
So a good example, universities like ours, we're not really deeply into chips, semiconductors.
Yeah.
So knowing how and what NVIDIA's doing or not doing.
The AI factories.
The AI factories.
Yeah.
It's not that relevant to our organization or our students. Maybe it is because we have a sustainability program. Those faculty and students will be interested, or some programs very particularly around energy programs, how to make things energy efficient, is very pertinent to them, but not on a mass scale as an organization.
But your students can communicate in a company like NVIDIA how they can cut down energy wastage or overloading Mother Earth with unnecessary computations.
That's correct.
Make the computations green, right?
And that's why the internships become so valuable. Our students love to do internships in those types of organizations which are specific to their domain, their profession, because they learn, of course, they learn the profession, but they also bring to them their learnings.
Yeah. So you probably have the most important role in Silicon Valley. You're teaching students how to adopt technology and telling the technologists what the technology landscape should look like for greater good. On that note, I do want to take more of your time. I know you're pressed for time. What are your last thoughts on how the future of University of San Francisco will look like, and with your experience with the CIOs of the tech companies in Silicon Valley, what is their future going to look like? What are you most excited about?
Those are two different questions. The
But
CIOs,
you're a person sitting right at the intersection of that.
so for the CIOs, I always recommend they need to
CIOs
become
of tech
tech
companies?
companies.
Okay, tech companies.
CIOs of tech companies, more of, or any CIOs, not just tech companies, but any of the CIOs in corporations, they really need to become a little bit more in tune with business problems, business issues. So learn the business itself. That's so important. And I know we've been talking about that for 10 years with CIOs, but I think that again is even more important
Why
now.
would they not be embedded in the business case? Why do you think
Because they emerge as technologists. So I consider myself a business leader who has a very deep technical background.
Right.
Right? I'm trying to solve business problems of whatever organization I'm part of, like the University of San Francisco. So I think having more of a business acumen is super important. And you'll hear that from most CIOs as well.
Yeah.
So that part is really important. The other is, as much as you can, make the journey initially about awareness, not about deliverable. I know that's easier said than done because CEOs and boards are clamoring for results.
Yeah.
They're going to be disappointed. Most of them will be very disappointed the next 4 or 5 years because they're not going to see the result. They might be disappointed in the next 2 years.
So why don't you tell them beforehand? This is what's
right?
coming.
If you can, right? If you can, you can make them more aware
Yeah.
about where the pitfalls are, what the issues are, and why we should go slower rather than faster.
Yeah.
Regarding, startups and people, the CEOs, the founders of the VC I spend time with, I'm always giving them practical advice about what will work, what will not work.
Yeah.
And it's based on my experience with not just technology, but change management, project management, executive management, politic management, other things that happen in corporations that have nothing to do with technology.
Yeah.
So helping them understand what are they building is relevant to that or not.
Yeah.
The other thing that happens very often with Silicon Valley startups is they're always started by somebody who left another job. Somebody who was an engineer at Apple left and started a company. Somebody who left at Yahoo went to start another company. So the startups are always engineering oriented, it's a good thing because that's where you want. It's not a great thing because engineers really are building a product they've never themselves used before.
Yeah.
They've never implemented before. They've never lived with the maintenance of 5 years of managing that software for 5 years in their career, right? So they're building a product that they've never had any relationship with to that level. So that's a key part of what I help Silicon Valley startups with is understanding the features and function of the product is one thing. Are they really building it so it can be successful long term?
Yeah.
Then we also spend time on things called you'll probably remember this. All products in Silicon Valley are either a painkiller or a vitamin.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what's being told to us. But does that hold good? Do you believe that?
Not very often. I think so part of what I help everyone do is sanity check. Is that really a painkiller or is it a vitamin, coming across as a painkiller? And I help them. So those are the type of things I discuss and help, startups with. Again, it's all because they help the University of San Francisco in so many different ways. We have gotten so much software donated to the university because of these relationships. So
that's amazing.
That's the reason I do. That's one of the main reasons I do this. It's not just because I love it, because it really benefits the University of San Francisco because we get all these great relationships, products either free to us for perpetuity, or it's given to us at deep discounts because we were helpful in their journeys, right? Whether it's Salesforce or Zoom or a multitude of other software packages that we've gotten over time. So it's beneficial for the faculty, beneficial for students, and of course it's beneficial for the university's bottom line because we're not paying for these at commercial rates.
And the three things about the university you're excited. What's coming for University of San Francisco that you're very excited about?
The first thing is working with all the incredible, our provost, Eileen Fung, is amazing. The deans that we have are amazing, and working with them to help them restructure their curriculum as best as, I can help them with. They have incredible faculty, they have incredible ideas, they're doing a great job coming up with their own ideas. Anything I could do to help them to innovate and change their curriculum to be more AI-centric, that's my number one thing that I get excited about. The other thing is AI has a lot of efficiency built possibilities.
Yeah.
So how do we help university, not just University of San Francisco, but also the other Jesuit universities that we're a part of, how do we help them understand how to use AI to become administratively more efficient? And what would that look like? And then how do we bring our staff along for that journey?
Yeah.
Because we don't want to leave staff behind.
Yeah.
We do, we want them to retrain, learn, adopt these technologies, adopt the use of them, understand, help them implement them so that we have a better administrative environment long term. I think those are the two things I can think of that are the most exciting. And then we have a new president. He's amazing. So just helping him in, in his vision and executing what he wants and how we're thinking about it. The board we have is absolutely amazing. They're always very supportive, very thoughtful, always asking great provoking questions. So I think it's that. Those are the things that keep me excited at USF. Besides, I have a great team. You already met some of them, but to me, it's all about the team. If we have a great team, we can do it. We've shown that we can do anything.
Yeah.
And I am a firm believer of that.
Opinder, this has been such a fascinating conversation. You have your heart in the right place, and you're probably one of the most innovative people I have met in Silicon Valley, hands down. And sitting here in the space of education, shaping the future, I'm most honored for your time and for your presence on the podcast. Thank you so much.
You're so kind. Thank you so much. This was amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.